Welcome to another adventure with Getting Lost. Well, you will recognize this place. This place is the main entrance for the Sungei Buloh Wetland Reserve. But in my previous visit, when I was coming here, I noticed some interesting things that I saw before I came here. So I decided to come back and to explore this place. To find out what I was looking at, join me after the intro. Welcome back. We are now at the Kranji Dam, and these four towers are actually quite iconic, quite a feature that represents the dam. This is the Kranji Dam, and here, the Kranji Dam, actually, if you walk in front of us now, you see this big body of water. It's actually the Kranji Reservoir, and this is actually a reservoir in the northern part of Singapore, near the Straits of Johor. And in the past, before the waters was dammed, before this became a reservoir, this used to be a river, a freshwater river that flows out into the sea called the Kranji River. But now, because of this dam here, the river is no longer a river but a reservoir. And the road that's actually running or bridging the dam, both sides of it, is actually called Kranji Way. And at this Kranji Reservoir, there are actually some area for fishing and also a small little park, which is on the left here. And here is the Kranji Reservoir Fishing Grounds B. And it's just a small little area which they set aside for people who likes fishing, and they can come here to fish. So what you do is just head to the water's edge, and you can see there are some facilities like some shaded areas, some seating, but mainly just a place for people to come and fish. So let me explain first of all about Kranji Reservoir. Like I said, in the past it used to be a river, and now it's because the mouth of the river was dammed, it has now become or has formed a freshwater reservoir, and it also can be classified as an estuary. So this dam actually prevents the sea from coming in, and here now the former river has become a freshwater reservoir. But I also noticed one thing when I was here. There was a bit of a foam on the water. I do not know where the foam came from. Could it be because of the wind keep blowing on the water? Because the wind during that time I was visiting was quite strong. So it actually mixed up the water a lot and created a lot of foam. Or it could be some kind of pollutant or detergent that was in the water that causes the foam. But I'm not sure which or what happened. But you'll see more of it later. But it's a very nice hot day here. Anyway, so we are actually leaving the fishing ground B now, crossing the road Kranji Way to go to the Kranji Reservoir Park. And this park here, the first thing you notice when you walk into the park is the trees. You notice they are nice, really old, really tall rainforest trees here. And that actually tells you the age, or tells you that this park here is quite old. But unfortunately I couldn't find when this park was opened. But I did note that in I think 1975 they actually dammed the mouth of the river, so that this park here is probably from around that date. And another thing that I also noticed was there are actually casuarina trees at the edge of the water. And casuarina trees are not a popular plant used by the national parks to plant in parks nowadays. So these casuarina trees were probably were here from the beginning. So the park here is quite old, and as you know, casuarina trees used to grow abundantly along the seaside of Singapore, but now very few of them remain. And if you walk past here, you see there's a lot of foliage and small little gaps through here where you can actually see the muddy waters or the mangrove area. So if there wasn't any mangrove or any foliage on my right here, you would actually be able to look past here and see Johor and the Straits of Johor. But here you are not able to see that, but you can still see much nice, a lot of trees here. And one thing interesting is this plaque. Okay, so this plaque is actually a war memorial plaque, which tells visitors of the historical and violent past of this place. And what took place here was actually a historical battle called the Battle of Kranji, which took place during the Second World War. And the Battle of Kranji is a battle where the Japanese army invaded Kranji in their plans to take over Singapore. So the battle may not have happened at this particular location here, but it was placed, the plaque was placed here to commemorate the battle that happened somewhere from here all the way to the causeway. So that was the whole area of the battle. And before we continue look at that, if you look past here, you can actually see the Sungei Buloh Wetland Reserve, and we were actually walking along this pathway previously in our adventure here. Our adventure last time when we came here. Anyway, so the Battle of Kranji happened along that whole stretch of area from here all the way to the causeway. And so the plaque is here to actually commemorate that battle. And if you walk past the park, you notice you are actually part of this park is actually a mangrove swamp. And here you have this whole stretch of land that actually holds back the water from the reservoir and separates the sea, which is on my left here, and then right behind me would be the reservoir, or the Kranji Reservoir, with all its fresh water. And here would be a good place to look for maybe birds, or certain migrating birds, but at the moment now I don't really see anything. And when I look in the water, I can't really see much things in the water too, but what you can see is across the water, and that is Johor. And in front of us is the Straits of Johor, and also the skyline, or the city line, or the cityscape of Johor, and all its surrounding areas facing Singapore. So this is a view that you don't normally get to see unless you're in this area. And over there, right in the distance there, with the striped chimneys, that is probably Senoko power plant area. And then the causeway, and then in front of us is probably Tanjong Putri or Princess Cove, some kind of development. And then also, if I'm not mistaken, the building right there, the square building near the water, is actually the JB Waterfront City, which I think is closed down or something. I don't know what happened to it. And then you see lots and lots of buildings, but in front of them would be the Istana, and maybe there is a pub somewhere over there. And behind it is a lot of tall buildings. And then other than that, I don't really know, I can't really tell much about the buildings that you see here, because I'm not very familiar with Johor or its buildings. Having that, I have not visited it very often. But I must say, there are lots of buildings here. And yeah, and probably behind there is actually Dangan Bay. But here This is the skyline of Johor. Maybe one day I should go to Johor and maybe do an adventure there, or spend some time there to explore the place. I mean, it's near Singapore, so why not? If I can find some cheap accommodation, maybe find a tour guide to help me, maybe I should do that. That's probably Dangan Bay. Yeah, that's probably it. And then in front of it, near to Singapore, there is where the Sungei Buloh Wetland Reserve is. See how Singapore side here is very natural, very green. Johor side is very industrial, very city. And here are all the rocks used to hold back the water, the dam, the earth, and separating the sea from the fresh water. Because if one day Malaysia don't want to sell us water anymore, at least we have water, or we are trying to be self-sufficient in water. But with Singapore's population keep growing and growing, we still need to have Malaysia to help us out with water. Anyway, so in the past, the waters of the fresh water or the Kranji River flows from behind me, right under my feet, right out here to the waters. And if you keep walking, earlier I told you in the distance there, you can probably even see the causeway. And along the causeway, you can see the tiny little cars driving across. And the causeway in the past used to be the only land connection between Singapore and Malaysia. But now we actually created, I think we have one in Tuas, and then we are doing a third one now. So I do not know if that will actually alleviate the jams at the causeway, because no matter what, people still like to use the causeway, and especially during public holidays or holiday season, people can be trapped at the causeway for maybe even 2 to 4 hours just to cross the causeway crossing from Singapore to Malaysia in a car. So if ever you're coming to Singapore, avoid the causeway during peak hours or holiday period. It's not a good thing to be stuck there. And if you look in the waters now, you'll notice there are small little ripples on the water surface. That is most probably because there are probably a school of fish swimming underneath here. If I had a net, I could probably throw in the net and catch a lot of little fishes. But unfortunately, I'm not a fisherman, and we have almost reached the other side. But unfortunately, we'll have to end our adventure here today. Yes, we will continue it in our next video. Stay tuned for that. And before we go, please do me a favor. Please help me by liking my video, sharing my video, and also subscribing to my channel. And lastly, but the most important thing, the thing that you have to do is to join me for my next adventure. Like at this place here, which I have never been before, but I'm exploring it for the first time. So join me for much more adventures like this in the future. Coming to a YouTube channel near you, a new series by Getting Lost, where what, who, what? Well, the name of the series is called Worth the Queue, where we will join the queue and we will eat the food, and we'll tell you whether the food is worth the queue. Yes, new series coming soon to a YouTube channel near you. Well, the first episode will be on the 25th of December. Yes, Christmas Day. So look out for it. It'll be coming to a YouTube channel near you. Really? Yes. So what you're waiting for? It's coming soon. A new YouTube channel or new food queue thing that we are doing now. Enjoy. Bye bye.